Hi guys, it's Jenny here from Polly's Paper Studio, and today I'm creating with a tag from our digital collage, the Ballerina fairy tags. It's very vintagey and very grungy at the same time. I've got it layered with chipboard and flowers and ribbon and beautiful coordinating papers. So if you want to see how I put this card together, just stay tuned. Okay, so I'm starting with the Ballerina Fairies digital collage from our shop. These are printed in the original size. I will leave links in the description below for this set, and it's very beautiful. It's very vintagey. It has a lot of grungy elements, a little bit of French flair, and so it will be great to have these for cards. This size is 4 inches, so it's perfect for larger cards, or you could print them smaller for tags. There is just a lot of possibilities for these. Now I did clip out this one on the top, and I'm going to use that as the focal image for my card today. I'm starting with a 6x6 card base, and I have already finished the inside and left a area for sentiment to be added. So this is going to be the base, and I'm choosing this sort of robin egg blue cardstock. Has a inked edge, and I did use the walnut distress ink for that. I wanted to carry on that really grungy sort of feel, and I'm using an 1/8 of an inch border again because I think that really helps to keep everything lined up straight. Now this paper is from my stash. It's My Mind's Eye. I've had it for ages. I love it, and it has been hard to decide to use it because then I won't have it anymore. So I'm giving up a beloved sheet of paper for this collection because I think it matches the background of that tag very well. And it also has some text that is sort of French. This is sort of newsprint, whereas the other one was for postcards and mailing. Now I'm going to use the polka dot as the base, and I want to line that up on top. Here is more of that My Mind's Eye paper, and I'm going to put it at the top. Do you guys have paper that you hang on to like that? I've got some most beloved pieces in my collection, and I will be heartbroken not to have them anymore, but happy that I'll have some use and make something beautiful with them. So I'm gonna move on to this layer, which is this die cut doily from Cherryland Dies. It's cut in a very crisp white cardstock because I needed to break up some of that busy pattern. It's just going to kind of give a clean slate to the next few layers. This is a frame from Gypsy Soul Laser Cuts. I used my dabber to apply the adhesive, and then I topped it with the Mermaid Tails embossing powder and heat set it, and it was just a tad too sparkly, which does seem like the wrong thing to say, because everything glittery and shiny is better, but it just was clashing. So I took my dabber again and applied a small amount of flat white acrylic paint over some of the larger areas, just to tone it down and take that shininess back to a more vintagey level. That adhesive is Tombow Mono Multi, and I feel like that works perfectly for chipboard. Anything that you want to use a wet adhesive for, because it has a precision tip and it dries clear. It's still a little shiny, so you don't want to get it all over and crazy, but you can conceal it behind the whatever it is that you're gluing down. So this was a bingo card. I originally printed it intending for the bingo to show, but once I began planning out what layers I wanted to add, there was a small chipboard sentiment, and I just kind of thought it was a little bit wordy and busy on the side, so I clipped the bingo section off, and then I clipped it in the middle and then added it to a larger piece of that coordinating cardstock. And so this is just me trying to adapt. I'm rolling with it. It wasn't perfect, but I made it work, and it kept the side from looking really jumbled up. And so I did add the foam adhesive tape to the center because it would be not supported in the middle. So the chipboard is higher and that will fill in that gap. This is just going to go right in the middle, and I'm going to conceal that gap in the printable with this. This is the tag. I inked the edges, and then I added an eyelet here and wound a little bit of twine through. I'm using craft foam to be a spacer so that I can build up the layers, and I did notch out the portion that will be for the twine, and that way it'll lay flat on the project. So I did also use some stickles on the wings just because I wanted it to be dry so I could assemble this quickly, which I'm not because I keep jibber jabbering. But see, now that is going to be roughly in the middle. You just kind of eyeball that one. So you see that paper, I think, matches that my mind's eye paper very well. Now I've got a few flowers here, or maybe a lot. Who's counting, right? So I always try to assemble that. You guys should know that by now because I always show you the back and it looks like a hot mess, but really what I'm doing is I'm building the layers in reverse. So I start with my focal flower, and that will be the anchor, and then I add all of the additional elements to the back so that I know it will be spaced well and that it will fit without covering up the image. These sweet little, I don't know, berry picks maybe, and spirals are from 49 in Market, and the leaves are, it came from one of the larger flower packages. This is Petaloo, and then these are some made by me flowers, which I used a cherryland dye and shaped them and added pearls to the center, and that just helps to break up that turquoisey pattern or color combination and brightens it up. So while I was adding layers, I did tuck in a little bit of this loopy twine bow from Really Reasonable Ribbon, and this crosshatch is gorgeous. I don't know if you could see it perfectly, but it's just the perfect color to go with the tag and the paper. So this is not as loopy as a bow as I generally make. It's not so poofy, but it did tuck in under that poinsettia. I'm not seeing that being Christmas flower. I just liked that it matched and it had a nice texture because it's a burlappy. So that will kind of fill in that corner nicely. And I'm going to use hot glue to add that, just because it's so dimensional and lumpy that I really want to be able to get in there and add a lot of adhesive. This is generally where I would glue myself to the table or to my project, but I'm going to be very careful and just sort of finish off that corner. I don't want to cover too much of that pretty frame, but this does anchor the arrangement, I think, very nicely. One more small flower arrangement for the top. These are leaves that I cut off because I mean, waste not, want not. If you're going to hide it behind something, you might as well clip it off and get use out of it. And then another flower made by me in a petaloo flower and some twine. So I think that looks nice at the top, and it sort of balances that large arrangement at the bottom. And I always think that more flowers is better, so might as well practice what I preach and add as many as I can get on there. Now, I'm going to add a few sequins. You could just as easily put in vintage buttons or any kind of trim, little embellishments. Here is that chipboard. It's Ranger Tim Holtz chip sentiments. I think that's the name of it. I thought it was really bulky, so I peeled off very carefully most of the backing, which is kind of a hair-raising sort of situation because it could either go well or you could totally ruin it. This time it worked, doesn't always. But then I wanted to make sure that it would be level. And I knew that if it hung off the side of that tag where I do have a spacer, that it would be prone to being bent or broken off. So I added a little bit of that adhesive and then more foam. And that's just going to keep everything lined up straight. And now you can see why I did want to remove the bingo, because it was so heavy wordy over here, and now it just kind of is more of a focal sentiment rather than additional letter noise, I guess you could say. Now I'm gonna get those sequins on, and because it takes me a while, I'm going to ask that if you enjoyed this video, could you give it a like? You can always leave me a comment. And if you want to get a notification of when our videos come out, you can just hit that bell and you will get an alert in your email. And then you won't miss any of these sequin parties I got going on here. I'm gonna use my offset tweezers and just kind of squish that in. And that way it'll have a good contact without me inadvertently moving it and getting adhesive all over the top of the tag. And so there's just going to be 3 here. Like I said, you could put vintage buttons or pearls. Pearls would be beautiful. Any kind of even grungy sort of embellishment would be cool because it would sort of go along with the border that I've added to this tag. There will be links in the description below for the tag. That's a digital collage from our shop. I will also link Really Reasonable Ribbon and Gypsy Soul laser cuts. And there is links to our social media sites. So you can check us out on Pinterest and Instagram and our Etsy shop and our blog and on Facebook. So that is it. And I'm wishing everyone a happy and productive day. And I thank you so much for watching. Bye.